Recording in progress. Recording stopped. Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
the chairperson has alluded, to present to you our integrated annual report for the financial year 2023.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, honorable members. Just going to give a few more seconds if anyone is not on that may still be joining. Just want to check so long. Babalwa, do we have quorum to continue?
Good morning, Chair. Yes, we do have a quorum. We can start a meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Babalwa. Good morning, honorable members. Today is the opportunity that we have for quite a bit of committee work and considerations and adoptions of reports. So it's a bit of an administrative exercise today. First, I just want to, if we can continue to adopt the agenda. Is there support to adopt the agenda? Everyone comfortable? All good. Then I would also like to just hear, Babalwa, do we have any apologies for today?
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning, Honorable Sosana. Babalwa, any apologies for today?
No, I did not receive any apologies from the members.
Thank you. Colleagues, I'm going to commence with the opening remarks. I think there are quite a few things that we need to note for today's session. So if you bear with me for a moment, I'm going to go through that now. Today, we are specifically focusing on several important in-house committee matters. Our agenda includes the adopting of the Budgetary Review and Recommendations Reports, also called BRRRs, for SAPS, IPID, and the Civilian Secretariat for Police. This obviously incorporates parts of the DNA board and also the office of the DPCI judge. The Money Bills and Related Matters Act on 2009 guides Parliament's critical oversight and recommendation processes related to national budget allocations. This process ensures that resources are not only used effectively, but also maximize service delivery, something we all care deeply about. Every year in October, committees prepare BRRRs for each department, drawing from annual report hearings. This process is more than just routine, it is essential. It enables us to, one, examine how departments manage their resources, ensuring transparency and accountability, two, evaluate the efficiency of their resource usage, and three, make recommendations that drive future allocations towards improved service delivery. Additionally, we'll be adopting the amended report on the oversight visit to the Philippi Training Academy and also the interim or preliminary report on extortion. While we raised several concerns about the lack of detail in the SAPS presentation regarding extortion, it laid the groundwork for further discussions on SAPS's efforts to tackle extortion, a critical issue we must address head on. We will further adopt several sets of committee minutes, which were circulated to members well in advance. Before we proceed, allow me to extend my heartfelt thanks to our support staff for their dedication in organizing and drafting these reports and minutes. Your hard work does not go unnoticed, and we truly appreciate your contributions. And I must emphasize this because everyone might not know in the committee, but we are short-staffed as well. We really have a challenge with regards to staff resources at Parliament, so it's important to emphasize that. So thank you to you. We cannot turn a blind eye to the ongoing issues also of DNA evidence backlogs, which continue to undermine the justice system. And colleagues, this is a story I want to share with you that I read yesterday. In one instance, a man accused of rape waited over 8 years for his DNA results to be processed, which severely delayed the court proceedings. Judge Stuart Wilson, overseeing this case, stressed the impact of this delay, stating that the DNA analysis could have either cleared the accused or provided key evidence against him. The accused in this case, who sought damages for unlawful detention and malicious prosecution, saw his charges withdrawn in August 2024 due to the mishandling of evidence. This example highlights the severe inefficiency
undermining authority.
Yes, so long office can.
There we go. Impact justice in South Africa. The delays have also affected other high-profile cases, including the rape of a 13-year-old mentally disabled girl in Boksburg in 2016. It is unacceptable that victims and their families are subjected to this added trauma while awaiting justice. It is imperative that we address the DNA backlog crisis with the urgency and attention that it deserves, as it has real consequences on the lives of victims and the accused alike. Then in terms of corruption, it remains a pervasive problem in all of our institutions, or in most of them, as seen in recent developments. Something that I believe is positive is that the former CEO of Transnet Group Capital, Herbert Nsagala, appeared in court to face charges of corruption, fraud, and money laundering. Nsagala is accused of accepting a 26 million rand in bribes after awarding 160 million rand tender for fuel pipeline repairs between Durban and Gauteng. This misuse of public funds weakens our state entities and diminishes their capacity to deliver essential services. And it's nice to see that some of these cases are starting to move and that there's a integrated or a more integrated approach, it seems, between entities like the Hawks and the NPA. Similarly, we saw Major General Tuto Pefu, a former senior manager in SAPS Legal Services, that was sentenced to 10 years in prison with 2 years suspended for criminal offences. He will serve 8 years of direct imprisonment, highlighting the importance of accountability within our police services. And this case serves as a reminder that even those in high-ranking positions are not immune from the law. And colleagues, I want to stress this because we know of the cases of several, especially major generals, that we have discussed over the last few weeks. Some have been suspended, others are in consideration, others are busy with disciplinary processes. But it's very important for this committee to zoom in on those, because if we don't clean up at the top, we can't expect it to change at the bottom. Over the weekend, we saw another tragic incident in Delft where 5 people were shot. We all know what happened in Musikisiki as well. 3 fatally in Delft in one incident. This is just one of many violent crimes that continue to terrorize communities across the country. And I must also then mention what Honorable Garner said in Parliament yesterday regarding the immense flow of illicit firearms on our streets. And I think it just adds to this and the whole extortion crisis too. SAPS must redouble its efforts to curb the escalating violence in gang-ridden areas like Delft and all the other places in the country that we know it really is challenging. The Eastern Cape is really standing out at the moment. I've also been informed that between the 14th and 20th of October alone, almost 40 murders took place just in the Cape Flats. This is a staggering figure and further emphasizes the urgent need for targeted interventions and a greater police presence to tackle the ongoing gang violence in many areas in the country. We've seen the pushback from police in certain parts of the country, whether in parts of Gauteng or KZN, but it's not nearly enough. We know that Honorable James continuously speaks about gang-related issues in the south of Gauteng and the challenges that they pose. We've heard about Honorable Leklape and how she shared what happens in parts of Northwest and Limpopo too. Every member of this committee has spoken about a specific area in the country that just makes it even more worrying to see what the scale of these crimes are. And turning to another critical issue, and I'm almost finished, I must highlight the ongoing investigations into fraud and theft of public funds, such as the recent case of a Mary Ntombi Milis and Mr. Selabalo. These individuals are accused of misappropriating over 350,000 rands from the National School Nutrition Program, and theft of these funds, which are designated to feed vulnerable children, is unconscionable. The duo have appeared in court and was granted bail, with the next hearing scheduled for January in 2025. But this case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of monitoring and oversight in public programs to prevent corruption and ensure that resources reach the intended beneficiaries. And I must commend the Hawks for acting the way they have with that case. As we continue with today's agenda, let us remember that our oversight function is critical in addressing these deeply rooted challenges, from corruption to violent crime and inefficiencies in our justice system, especially with regards to policing. Our responsibility is to ensure that the South African Police Service and related institutions are equipped to deliver the services our communities so desperately need, and we must remain vigilant in our efforts to restore faith in the institutions that protect and serve our people. Thank you, honourable members. I'm going to, with that, head over to the agenda for us. And then, if I may ask that Nicolette, if you or Babalwa can just share the agenda, just very briefly, or the notice for the meeting on the screen. I just want to quickly share. So, colleagues, we are going to go over the BRRRs first, then the oversight reports, and then minutes that we need to adopt from previous committees. I understand there's a plenary this afternoon, and therefore I'm going to try and ensure that we don't get stuck or take too much of your time today. If I may then, if we can start with the first BRRR report. Nicolette, I think, are you sharing for us? Are you going to share? There we go, colleagues. So the first one is the BRRR report by the or of the Police Portfolio Committee. It's the annual report, or regarding the annual report of South African Police Service, dated 23 October 2024. We're going to go through the observations and the recommendations. You have all received these. We'll go through them. If there are any amendments, let's go through the observations and recommendations, after which anyone can, all members can raise a hand if there's something we may have missed. Let's start with the observations. First point is the audit outcome. Members welcome the unqualified audit opinion on the financial statements of the department, but raise concerns about the material findings on performance, contract management, and compliance to legislation. Members noted that the repeat findings point towards ineffective management and leadership in the department, and that police members are not disciplined for transgressions and non-adherence to policies and procedures. Members further noted the consequence management is lacking in the department. Members encourage the department to strive to clean audit in future years. The second point is repeat findings. The committee questioned the Honourable Barnard.
Yeah, sorry to take you back a little bit. It's just a typing error. If I may, back to after point 3, the BRRR forms a source document. There's just an S there that should not be there. It says documents. Sorry about that. I should have left in earlier.
No. Thank you for that.
Pleasure.
I would have missed, well, I did miss it, so it helps a lot. Repeat findings. The committee questioned the Auditor General of South Africa's relationship with the department and the Internal Audit Committee to identify and address repeat audit findings. Members, and I think there's an S we can add, indicated that various audit action plans have been developed, but that these remain ineffective as repeat findings persist. The committee questioned whether the Office of the Auditor General monitors progress through in-year monitoring, and then also the Office of the Auditor General noted that it has adopted a district approach to continuously monitor the controls put in place to ensure positive audit outcomes as part of a larger accountability ecosystem. This approach will be rolled out to more districts in the future and will have a positive impact on repeat findings. Generally, the Office of the Auditor General has a good relationship with the internal audit divisions and audit committees to ensure alignment. The Auditor General encouraged the committee to monitor the implementation of the post-audit action plan. The third one is record keeping. The committee raised concerns about the apparent deficiencies in the department's record-keeping systems and that root causes seem to stem from failures in the lower levels of accountability at station level, with police members not complying with instructions. Members questioned whether the root cause lies with ineffective IT systems, ineffective training, or the lack of consequence management for officials failing to report or keep record. Members raised the fact that the Office of the AGSA stated that systems put in place to mitigate repeat findings often do not trickle down to lower levels of management, especially station management. The department indicated that station commanders are trained and an orientation training program has been implemented. I think in Nicolette there, where we say has been implemented, I think we could say is being implemented, because I don't think it's complete yet. So that's a possible one. Then number 4 is inefficient audit evidence. The committee raised concerns about the reported achievement on various performance indicators in the visible policing and detective services programs. The fact that the AGSA was unable to obtain supporting evidence to verify reported achievements is a significant concern, and this must be emphasized, especially economic crimes and DNA analysis. That typo there's an extra especially. We can keep it there. It works with the comma. Number 5 is material irregularities and consequence management. The committee highlighted material irregularities as a concern and questioned whether any consequence management was implemented against officials not adhering to legislative prescripts in the SCN environment. While the material irregularities on the Telkom towers was included in the audit of the DPWI, it has a significant impact on the department. The committee questioned whether the AGSA audit security clearances of the members of the SMS and monitored by internal audit and not the AGSA. Civil claims. The committee raised concerns about the increase in the number of civil claims brought against the department during the 23-24 financial year. The department indicated that processes are underway to decrease the number of civil claims and to identify stations that are contributing to the most civil claims. The department further noted that claim amounts are beyond the control of the department and that claims do not indicate the actual amount that will be paid. The SAPS Inspectorate has started implementing a mitigating strategy in July 2022 to address the escalation of civil claims. The National Steering Committee and 8 provincial steering committees have been appointed to drive and implement the strategy. The Inspectorate has identified cases of collusion between police members and legal firms that impact civil claims. The impact of the strategy will be felt over time. The Deputy Minister indicated that the use of body-worn cameras will assist in the regard to capture and prove instances where police members acted within the confines of the law. The National Commissioner, interaction with people, you can just scroll down a little bit, that do not want to be interacted. I think something doesn't read right there. In instances where police members were negligent, funds are recovered for the implicated member. Most cases related to arrestees being detained beyond the stipulated 48 hours during which the arrestees must appear before court. As an example, the department highlighted the case in which suspected extortioners were arrested and detained for more than 48 hours and had to be released. The department engaged with the MPA and Judiciary to extend the time allocation, but was not supported. Alignment between expenditure and performance. The committee noted the misalignment between the achieved performance of the department and expenditure at year end. While the department had spent 100% of its available budget, only 67% of predetermined performance targets were achieved. The misalignment is most significant in the visible policing and detective services program, which are the two core service delivery programs of the department. Concerns were also raised that performance indicators do not measure the lived experience of citizens, that performance targets across different programs do not complement each other. An example was made that while the crime intelligence program achieved performance target, it seemingly does not support the other divisions or functionalities of the department. Police are compromised. Evidence of police protection. That I think that last bit is sorry that I laugh, but there's just no ways that 100% performance target is equal to the reality on the ground. So that's also must be emphasized. Then the revenue income income statement. Members requested clarity on the there's something there. There we go. Yeah, I was scared of being accused of not being able to read numbers. Close to 500 million rand received in donor funds during 2023-24. The department applied for funding from the criminal asset recovery account to fund various projects, which was approved. And number 9, in-year changes to budget allocations. Members requested clarity on the shifts and environments made during 23-24 and questioned whether this points to poor planning and budgeting. The department indicated that the in-year changes were necessitated by spending pressures such as the increase in fuel prices, which has significant impact on expenditure. The establishment of task teams and intervention initiatives require significant funding. Then number 10, in terms of extortion, members raised concerns about the number of arrests in relation to extortion and categorizing of extortion. It seems like the department focuses on high-level cases in the construction sector, leaving lower-level extortion, like, for example, sexual extortion and protection fees. Concerns were raised that the typology of extortion is too sophisticated and needs to be focused on extortion of ordinary citizens and businesses being extorted. The committee further questioned the manner in which the success or successes of intervention plans are measured. The committee expressed concerns that individuals paying extortion demands may themselves face consequences and indicated that this might deter reporting. Reporting can also be hampered by the involvement of police members in extortion, leading to the trust deficit between police and communities. The department explained various interventions, such as provincial and national extortion hotlines, and indicated that most successes on extortion are those investigations that are initiated by the police with the assistance of crime intelligence. Colleagues, we can just note there, Nicolette, I think there was a question that came up last week or the week before regarding the Western Cape extortion hotline that received one call in a year's time. So I think possibly we can discuss it after this if need be, but it might be something that we can just mention, that is the hotline actually something that really helps to bring down extortion if people don't use or trust it. I know some of the other lines have received many calls, so it's not necessarily the case everywhere, but we must question the way that is managed and whether it's cost effective. 11 is return on investment, ICT. The committee expressed concern that the department is not ensuring value for money or return on its investments, especially in terms of capital works projects and ICT projects. Specific attention was given to the ineffective operation of various IT systems currently in use by the South African Police Service, including the ICDMS and the 10111 call centers, as well as the significant delays in building projects to bring police services closer to communities. The committee noted further that the SAPS must engage in smarter and digital policing solutions to assist them in the fight against crime and align with the modern advances of technology. The AGSA noted that the ICT systems of the police are in danger of becoming obsolete and must be upgraded. There's a D there. The department must demonstrate that existing ICT systems can be used before additional systems can be procured. Integrated crime and violence prevention strategy. The committee welcomed the whole of society approach, but questioned the implementation of the strategy. The ICVPS requires collaboration between multiple government departments, police, health, social development, education, etc., civil society organizations, and community stakeholders. A significant challenge is coordinating these entities effectively, as they often operate in silos with different priorities, cultures, and resources. Poor coordination can result in fragmented efforts and ineffective implementation of the strategy. 13 is confidentiality of information and protection of whistleblowers. I think this can't be emphasized enough. The committee indicated that confidentiality of information is paramount in all cases being reported, particularly when it involves sensitive matters such as informers, whistleblowers, and witnesses. Ensuring the protection of these individuals is critical to uphold trust in the justice system and encouraging the reporting of criminal activities. Whistleblowers must be afforded the highest level of protection to safeguard them from any form of retaliation or harm. 14 is the impact of crime prevention strategies. The committee stated that the impact of crime prevention strategies must be measured to ensure reduction in crime rates and public safety, but also social cohesion, economic growth, and efficiency of the criminal justice system. Equitable allocation of police resources. The committee questioned the equitable allocation of police resources across all provinces, especially in the Western Cape province, and stated that it is essential to ensure fair and effective policing countrywide. Third-party dependencies. The committee raised concerns about dependencies on other departments for the SAPS to perform their functions, such as the Department of Public Works, which has constrained the department in performing critical functions. I know, for example, in the last week, I think in PSIRA in the Western Cape, the police station's electricity was cut because of a bill not being paid. Members noted that the construction of new police stations is a critical component of improving public safety and ensuring equitable access to policing services. The construction of police stations must be guided by strategic criteria, including crime trends, population needs, and geographic factors, to ensure that resources are directed where they are most needed. An updated list of stations built in recent years and planned over the medium term was requested. Expenditure on leases. The committee raised concerns over the substantial expenditure related to building leases and maintenance of facilities. In the past financial year, the cost of leasing buildings for SAPS operations amounted to 1.5 billion rand, which are often owned by private landlords or entities, and SAPS currently relies heavily on these external landlords to provide adequate premises for police stations, administrative offices, and other operational needs. While necessary, this dependence on leased buildings has become increasingly costly. Additionally, SAPS has invested 1.8 billion rand on the maintenance of premises, which included both leased properties and stations owned by the department. To cut down on the reliance of private landlords, SAPS has initiated a project aimed at reducing the number of leased buildings. As part of broader strategies to optimize its property portfolio, SAPS is working on a lease-to-own project for police stations that are in good condition. This approach will allow the South African Police Service to eventually own these stations, reducing long-term rental costs while maintaining facilities that meet operational standards. However, SAPS is also reviewing stations that are no longer cost-effective to lease or maintain and may look to offload these properties in the future. For stations that have already been devolved or are under SAPS ownership, maintenance continues to be a priority. These stations are managed and maintained directly by SAPS to ensure that they remain functional and serve the needs of the community. Something there, I think, for stations that have already been devolved under SAPS, and maintenance is said to be a priority, because I don't think it would be accurate to say that it is a priority everywhere, because unfortunately we know that some of these stations do not always get the attention that they deserve. So I think it's important that we just so Nicolette, there we can say if everyone, well, we can go over it again at the end if need be, but we can say maintenance is said to be a priority instead of continues to be a priority. Then 18, the loss and theft of firearms. The committee raised serious concerns regarding the accountability of police members when their firearms are lost or stolen. Civilians face stringent consequences when their firearms are either lost or stolen, including potential criminal charges and strict administrative actions. However, there appears to be a lack of similar rigor and enforcement when it comes to SAPS members who lost their state-issued firearms. Members highlighted the need for comprehensive investigations when firearms issued to SAPS personnel are lost or stolen. There is growing concern that the department may not properly be managing its inventory of firearms, which are critical assets of the state. Now, failure to maintain accurate and up-to-date records jeopardizes both accountability and security of these firearms. Something to add there is the fact that SAPS still has a high allowance or a number of firearms that is okay to have stolen or have lost, which is unacceptable. That number, there cannot be a number like that. It's not okay. It means basically that if only 600 firearms are stolen or lost, then they can say, but we reached 100% target that we didn't lose more than 600 firearms. It can't be okay. It should be zero. And if you lose your firearm and it's through significant negligence, you should be fired. It's that simple. The same consequence should count that the public faces. Number 19, drugs. The destruction of seized drugs is a critical measure in the fight against drug-related crime, but concerns have been raised about the effectiveness of strategies to deal with drug syndicates, particularly their evolving tactics. Drug busts, especially at airports, often uncover large amounts of illicit substances being smuggled, yet these operations can sometimes be part of a decoy strategy used by drug syndicates to divert attention from larger shipments. Despite the critical role that sniffer dogs play in detecting drugs, their use and effectiveness is not mentioned or highlighted as often as they should be. Once drugs are seized, the handling and destruction of these substances become a legal and procedural matter. The department noted the importance of keeping drug exhibits for evidence purposes. SAPS has approached the National Prosecuting Authority with a proposal to keep only samples of seized drugs rather than the entire quantity, to streamline the destruction process, this is. However, this proposal was not agreed upon by the MPA, which may complicate the timely destruction of drugs. The department is actively investing in breeding and buying sniffer dogs, ensuring that the canine units are well resourced and trained to meet the growing challenges posed by drug syndicates. Something there, Nicolette, is attempting to ensure that canine units are well resourced, because I know that, for example, at the breeding facility in Roodeplaat, they recently had another outbreak of some or other illness or virus with the puppies there, and they were all placed under some kind of quarantine. So I think they are not fully ensuring it. We can't say 100% that they are ensuring that canine units are well resourced. I know of many canine units that also don't have dogs at the moment. So I think there is another, add that, the vet services and resources. The decline in detective services. The committee raised concerns about the continuous and consistent decline in detective services program, which is most evident in forensic laboratory sub-program. It was stated that in 2017, the department had about 26,000 detectives, which had declined significantly. The undercapacitation and lack of skills were provided as reasons for various targets not being achieved. The committee noted that the department had previously committed to re-enlistment of retired detectives and questioned the progress in this regard. The committee further highlighted the concern raised by the Auditor General that forensic leads are not followed up by detectives and that storage facilities are inadequate, which can lead to the loss of case dockets. The department indicated that budget cuts will affect the environment, specifically in terms of allowances to detectives. The department indicated that newly trained recruits have been allocated to the Detective Services Program. However, members raised concerns about the lack of experience and questioned whether the newly appointed constables are mentored by experienced detectives in the Detective Services Program. Detective allowance in 2 years will be implemented, just a note. In performance of FSL, the committee expressed concern about the continued and increasing backlog in the analysis of DNA case exhibits, and that this is affecting the entire criminal justice system value chain and leading to a failure to bring perpetrators to book. The committee noted that the delays in DNA analysis are resulting in the withdrawal of cases being struck off the court roll. Just give me a second. The committee further questioned whether all contacts in the FSL environment are in place, including the maintenance of machinery and procurement of consumables. And then regarding tampering, just to note, there was no incidents of tampering, no indications. Vehicle availability, the committee raised significant concerns regarding the ongoing challenges related to the availability of vehicles and the excessive time spent in garages for repairs. Colleagues, just as a side note, yesterday we sent a request to Paul in the Western Cape. Again, I saw a vehicle where police officers seemed to be driving around with his family going for shopping with a police van, clearly labeled as a visible police vehicle. So if you see things like that, please report it. It might feel petty, but it is a difference between a vehicle being available and not. It cannot be used for anything personal and is not acceptable. Just continuing with vehicle availability, addressing these issues is essential for ensuring SAPS can effectively fulfill its mandate. The availability hinder response times and limit the ability of officers to conduct patrols and respond to incidents promptly. The committee underscores the need for a reliable fleet to ensure that law enforcement can operate at optimal capacity. Crime Intelligence Division, members stated that the effective functioning of crime intelligence is crucial in the fight against crime. To ensure that crime intelligence operates at its highest capacity, it is imperative that it receives adequate funding and resources. Human resource management. Members emphasized the importance of Honorable Skosana.
I'm sorry. Why is you on the last one when you spoke about the? I'm not sure whether at the end one can come in because there is an issue of vehicles. But it's fine. I think at a later stage I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
100%. No problem. In terms of human resource management, members emphasize the importance of conducting exit interviews to gain insight into employee departures. Members further raise concerns about the current gender representation within SAPS, specifically the target of achieving 50% representation. While progress is being made, questions remain regarding the pace of this progress and the strategies in place to support female recruitment and career advancement. I think what's important there, colleagues, if I may, is that no matter who is recruited, and this is across the board, we must say that there is competent reports, employment, or I think that's important, that we mustn't just chase a target for the sake of chasing it. We need to go look for the best people to make up that representation. So I think that's very, very important. And we do have more than enough competent people that can do the job. We just need to go and find them. Members also questioned how the investment of 2.9 billion rand on personnel development translates into value for money. Members further highlighted the need for effective internship programs, especially in relation to addressing youth unemployment. Honourable Letlape.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to come in on the issue of target on gender. I find that input very problematic, that the fact that we mention the intention of reaching a 50% representation of females, then we add a input that says we must not do it for the sake of target, but it must be competence. I find it very problematic that now that we mention the female gender, we must also be too cognizant of who is capable and who is not. I'd propose that we leave it out and maybe explain it further as we get into it. Thanks.
Sure. Honourable Letlape, you would have noted that I said no matter who we appoint and across the board, it must be on competence. So there's nothing just towards females. You would have also noted over the last few weeks, I keep on repeating the idea of merit appointments. So no matter how we put it, we can't just appoint someone regardless of what the target is or who they are, just for the sake of representing a certain part or demographic of the South African Police Service. So I believe that it must be done according to competence. But in no way is it only with regards to female appointments. It must be across the board, and that must be emphasized. So thank you for the input. Regarding corruption, the committee questioned the collaboration between DPCI and the Investigative Directorate Against Corruption within the MPA, as both entities play essential roles in addressing crime and corruption. Yet their mandates and areas of focus are delineated to ensure effective and efficient operations. Then 26, state capture investigations. Members requested an update on the investigations into state capture. The collaboration between the IDAC and DPCI is vital in ensuring thorough and effective investigation processes. I have noted that just with regards to state capture, quite a few people that have been implicated in state capture have started appearing in court over the last 2 to 3 weeks. I mentioned Transnet as well in my opening remarks. So I think we should keep the pressure on regarding that and keep questioning it. And it's good to see that there are court appearances happening. Honourable Kola Barnard.
Thanks very much. Just with as we go on to committee recommendations, and I know the committee has asked Public Works to produce a report in terms of stations that should be built over the next foreseeable future. However, I think there has to be a lot added to that report. I think what is needed is a full list of leased accommodation. It's all leased by Public Works for the SAPS. Members are often put in old houses that are totally unsuitable around the country, and then Public Works frequently forgets to pay, and next thing, SAPS members are working on the streets. Now it happens all the time. So I wonder if somewhere one couldn't put in a face-to-face, pull Public Works in with the minister, but before that ask them for full reports on all of these matters, and then they must come and meet face-to-face to explain what the process is. I mean, the very fact that you have an empty building still that's being paid for, the fact that you have empty buildings in Durban, massive buildings that should be filled with SAPS people. I can think of 3 offhand, and they just stand empty and being trashed. all of that's got to be explained by Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard. Honourable Sosana. I think that's a legacy hand, as Honourable Taibosh put it. Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard. Noted. In terms of recommendations, sorry, Nicolette and Babalwa, can we I just want to make sure we make a note regarding the comment about Public Works, and then we can put that in motion. In terms of recommendations, the committee recommends the following to the department. One is to establish clear accountability structures within the department to ensure that leadership takes responsibility for audit findings and compliance issues. Implement a robust performance management system that includes regular evaluations and consequences for non-adherence to policies and national instructions. The one part there, Nicolette, that I thought of that should be added is just to add that it mustn't be just a clear accountability structure. Somewhere we must put something about urgency. They must implement a robust performance management system that includes urgent regular evaluation, something like that, because it seems that we keep on kicking it forward. We'll talk about Philippi later, but I mean, it just seems like there's limited urgency to really handle the issues at hand. Second is prioritize comprehensive training programs for station commanders focused on record keeping, compliance with procedures, and the importance of accurate reporting to improve overall departmental effectiveness. The implications of poor record keeping and reporting should be clearly explained to station commanders and support staff at station level. The department should conduct a skills audit on all station commanders countrywide to ensure that they possess necessary skills to effectively manage police stations. Colleagues, I hope I'm not wrong, but I think you would agree with me that I think that skills audit is something that should be done with the national management of SAPS too. So I hope you don't mind me jumping the gun on that, but I think it's some way, Nicolette, we should mention that too. I think it is coming up. Sorry for my interruption. Can someone just mute? There we go. Thank you. So we'll come back to this. So just note the skills audit. I must emphasize skills audit must be done with national management of SAPS to ensure that whoever is in a certain position, and the excuse, and I'm saying it very honestly, colleagues, but I often hear the excuse of no, but we're professionalizing SAPS. So it motivates the appointment from someone from the outside. If that is the case, that person must still indicate that they are competent for the job, and we need to be able to determine that according to the relevant audit. I'm still not convinced that some senior appointments are actually competent to be in the position that they are in. Honourable Kola Barnard.
I'm not sure if I've missed it anywhere, but I was looking for reference to lifestyle audits. You know, that's the surest way to root out corruption within the SAPS. And SAPS should be reporting regularly on results of lifestyle audits. I know our colleague has put through questions about criminal records held by SAPS members, but the lifestyle audits can root it out, which I think is one of the big aims. Perhaps that should come under the section on corruption. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, that's a very good suggestion. I think Honourable Letlape also mentioned that quite a bit, the lifestyle. I think it was you. But nevertheless, that's a very good point. We should add that. So coupled with the above recommendations, systems should be put in place to enhance record keeping and reporting capabilities across the department. These systems must be user-friendly and supported by adequate training for staff to maximize compliance and efficiency. Must ensure adequate funds to upgrade existing ICT systems to ensure contemporary needs. This includes investing in modern software solutions that enhance efficiency in operations and evidence management. The Minister should continue engagement with the Minister of Communication and Digital Technologies on SETA service delivery to SAPS. The delays of non-realization of contracts, delays in projects implementation, and lack of skilled expertise for system expansion and development has a negative impact on SAP's ability to deliver on the constitutional mandate and modernize the approach of policing. Colleagues, I just want to mention there, I don't know if you've picked it up in the other committees, but SETA is a problem everywhere. Every single department I speak to or have some kind of contact with, SETA is an absolute nightmare. So I actually feel like in some cases they should have no say whatsoever, because they are seriously delaying just basic progress in terms of the use of technology. 8.5 is to proactively reduce the number of civil claims against the department by implementing improved risk management strategies and training initiatives. The department should pay specific attention to detention of arrestees beyond 48 hours. Although the committee understands various constraints, the provisions set out in Section 51 of the Criminal Procedures Act must be held as it discourages irregular arrests and detention. The department should expedite consequence management and disciplinary steps against employees incurring irregular and fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Again, and I laugh because it's where my issue regarding urgency comes in. Just last week with the passing out parade at some of the colleges, I've heard and received information regarding irregular and fruitless, wasteful expenditure with regards to food. Just a lot of food that was bought on college funds, and that was all taken away personally from some of the different institutions after the passing out parades. So again, and Philip is a good example, we must question the urgency with which it's being approached. 8.7, the department should consider outsourcing firearm management through a public-private partnership to ensure effective firearm administration and reduce personnel and funding pressures on the SAPS. The initiative should complement the newly developed firearm management system to be completed within the agreed timeframe. Colleagues, there's something in the coming months that I think is also worth discussing and zooming in on, is that new firearm management system. I think we are spending money on things that exist already, that there's no doubt that through the correct partnerships, whether it is with the university, it can be with different intergovernmental types of relationships, there's a good opportunity to work together on that. Honorable Mbio.
Okay, thanks, Chairperson. I needed clarity on 8.7 on the department should consider outsourcing firearms. Yes, I wanted to understand where does this recommendation come from? Thank you.
Sure, Honorable Mbio. It was actually one that I made. I think there were two others. I can't remember exactly. And it was a recommendation that was made due to the fact that there needs to be some kind of a broader accountability process or more oversight. I think that's the one part. The second part is that there are already systems in place. And remember, this is just for administration. There are already systems in place that can be used by the police. They don't need to reinvent the wheel the whole time. I think it's also good in terms of public accountability, and that it's not the alone monopoly of SAPS to keep record of that. Honorable Kola Barnard.
Thanks. That actually brings to mind another issue that Public Works needs to deal with. The Central Firearm Registry is a fire trap. It's been condemned a number of times. They work in what is basically a hellhole, with no parking, and it's bird lice flood through the windows. I mean, it's obscene, and rats run in between the files chewing on them. So Public Works, again, has been approached a number of times about that, and they still have to work there. So please just put that on the list as we're talking firearms. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kola Barnard. Honorable Mbio, are you happy with the explanation?
Oh yes, I'm fine, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mbio. Implement stricter measures and consequences for. Sorry, I thought I missed the point. 8.8 is implement stricter measures and consequences for members when firearms are lost or stolen. We spoke about this earlier, ensuring that proper investigations are conducted and that any negligence is addressed with appropriate disciplinary actions. Furthermore, the department must improve the management of its asset register, ensuring that every firearm issued to SAPS officers is accounted for and properly tracked. By holding SAPS members to the same high standards applied to civilians, the department can better safeguard its firearms and demonstrate accountability in the fight against crime. 8.9, design a targeted financial strategy to support recruitment and retention of female officers, including mentorship programs, professional development findings, and marketing campaigns to attract women to the police service. I think this must be emphasized. It's crucially important, and I think it sometimes becomes a very uncomfortable working environment, and we need to make for female police officers, and we need to make sure that that is not the case. 8.10, conduct a financial analysis of current leased properties to identify cost-saving opportunities, fast-track the long-term strategy that prioritizes lease-to-own options for well-maintained stations, reducing reliance on external landlords and overall leasing expenses. And 8.11, training academies must instill discipline and pride in prospective police members. Poorly maintained facilities and understaffing diminish the quality of training for recruits. Additionally, regular inspections and audits are necessary to ensure ethical leadership and effective management at these academies. The establishment of dedicated capacity to deal with discipline in the department is crucial to rebuild trust between police and communities. Appropriate sanctions must be applied when police members are found guilty of misconduct. The review of the entire discipline management system of the department should be prioritized. Specialized expertise conduct disciplinary hearings will enhance the standard of discipline hearings to promote consistency and fairness in the findings and sanctions imposed in terms of misconduct. 8.13, the skills audit of the senior, there we go. The skills audit of senior management of the department should be conducted to ensure that leaders possess the competencies necessary to meet the current and future needs of the organization. By assessing existing capability, SAPS can foster a leadership team that is both agile and well-equipped to address the evolving challenges in policing. It's a critical step. There's a typo there, just where it says is a critical step in optimizing leadership effectiveness, promoting continuous development, and ensuring alignment with strategic objectives. And then we'll obviously add the bit about including lifestyle audits. Colleagues, that is those are the observations and recommendations with the short additions. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I think that's absolutely perfect. And again, thank you to Nicolette and the team. Outstanding work.
Thank you, Honorable Kola Barnard. Honorable Sosana, you wanted to add something? As you can hear, my dog is also trying to add something.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you, Honorable Sosana. You can go ahead.
Yes, my add was that it's unfortunate that the provincial office in Gauteng, what I was given in that head office of the Hawks, it's really, I don't want to say disgusting, but indeed, we can't solve the issue of crime if our own police officers doesn't even have cars. The cars they have are old cars with over 170 Ks. The highest are clocking 576 kilometers. They are always at the garage. Officers are using their own cars. Sometimes they don't have petrol. Officers have no telephone. They're using their own cell phone. There's no landline. I'm talking about the elite for police. I'm not talking about ordinary police. The elite of this country don't have resources at all. 14 officers instead of 80 a minimum. It's you know, Gauteng in particular, you know, there's that provincial office where crime is almost over 42% of crime, like truck hijacking. There's only 2 officers, no car at all. And we are saying that, no, we will be able to combat crime. There's no way, Chair. There's no way. There's no way. If a colonel and a brigadier as well are using their own cars, so when they don't have petrol, a colleague must pick them up. When there's a man do anything, because the state is unable to provide resources for them. For me, Chair, I think we have to take this up. In fact, in a corridor of power, I passed that to the minister. The minister said they've provided 50 cars, you know, but those 50 cars, if you can imagine, there's 143 police stations in Gauteng. Now, it's a drop in an ocean. Most of these resources, I'm still saying it again, Chair, went to the VIP protection services. And I think if we can redirect our resources and make sure that all this crime intelligence, you know, the detectives as well, you know, your normal combating crime units can be resourced. I can tell you, perhaps the crime can drop a little bit, but as things stands now, I can tell you can report a case today. Forget about the telephone lines; they don't exist. They don't have landlines there. You know, sometimes you have to buy them an airtime because they don't have. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Susana. Noted. I share the frustration. Honourable Kalabona.
I absolutely agree with everything that the Honourable Skosana said. I think many of us have literally watched as the top cops, if they have a flat tire, they go and buy their own tire because they know that the process can take months and months and months without a vehicle, and they use their private cell phones, and they use, and this is on very low salaries. So, you know, the provision of equipment should be gone into station by station by station. I think it's just a major, major problem. And I agree absolutely all across the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Kalabona. Colleagues, I would like to ask that we continue. Can we move to adopt the report? I have someone. Honourable Schikkeling.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. I move for the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Schikkeling. Can I have someone to second that?
I raised one thing. Ms. Schikkeling was not in the meeting when we were considering the SAPS report. She was absent on that day.
I forgot. Thank you, Babalwa. Sorry, Honourable Schikkeling. Honourable Mokoena.
Thank you, Chair. I move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you, Honourable Mokoena. Can I have someone to second that? Honourable Bio.
Thank you, Chair. I second it.
Thank you, Honourable Bio. Are there any persons or parties that would like to reserve the right? Honourable Lehlape.
Thanks, Chair. Please note the objection of the EFF.
Thank you, Honourable Lehlape. Noted. Thank you, colleagues. That is then the report regarding the South African Police Service. Nicolette, if we may move on to the next one. Colleagues, we are now going to go through the IPID report. So we will go through the recommendations. I think everyone has seen the observations. If there are specific changes or additions you would like to make in terms of observations, please just share it when we engage in discussion after this. I've asked Nicolette that we go to the recommendations for the sake of time. It feels like I've just read a thesis. I don't mind reading it at all, but I just want to make sure we're being efficient on time. If there are specific observations, again, please just raise them when we start, and we will then go back to the observations. Honourable Sosana.
Chair, I don't have these slides. I'm not sure whether the secretary can email them, please.
Honourable Sosana, I think they were sent on Sunday evening or Sunday morning. Sorry. They should be on your email, Honourable Taibosh.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think the way we're going through it, yes, I appreciate the thoroughness, but also to assist you, we've had these slides. We were supposed to have read them, and when going through it, it would make more sense if you go through page by page, but you're saying, you mentioned the numbers of the points. And if the members have anything to add or that they disagree, then they can just comment on that. But for you to read this page by page, all these reports, I know it's going to be a daunting task for you. And what's the use? We read the reports and, now you're reading them over again for us. So that means we didn't have to read them in the first place.
Thank you, Honourable Taibosh. Noted. Colleagues, are you comfortable with me just going through the recommendations of all the reports? I take that as a joint yes approval. Thank you. So let's start with the recommendations on IPID. I need to go through the recommendations to make sure that we haven't missed anything. The first one is the department must maintain stringent financial systems and internal controls that lead to unqualified audit opinions. Consider implementing quarterly internal reviews to ensure these standards are upheld throughout the year. Can you just scroll down for me, please? Oh, I need to go. Sorry, sure. No, Nicolette, sorry, I missed that. The committee recommends that National Treasury considers allocated a ring-fenced budget over the NTEF to upgrade the department's database system, including database infrastructure upgrades, data analytics integration, capacity building, and maintenance. The investment will enable the department to better track, trace, and investigate cases related to police misconduct, allowing for greater police accountability. The system upgrade will streamline processes in the department and free up valuable man-hours spent on manual searches and analysis. Thank you, Nicolette. We can go to point number 2. The department must revise its output-based indicators to include qualitative measures, allowing for better assessment of impact on police professionalism and integrity. The department should continue utilizing media and public spaces like shopping malls for public engagement to enhance service delivery and expand the public knowledge of the department. The department must prioritize the upgrade of its database system to allow for better tracking of repeat offenders and complainants, ensure it is user-friendly and offers robust search capabilities, and introduce data analytics features to identify trends in misconduct and complaints, facilitating quicker and more targeted interventions. The department should reassess timelines of completion of investigations based on the types of investigations, complexities, and requirements. This should be aligned to budget allocations across the department's budget programs. The department should consider the implementation of a pilot program for early mediation of less serious cases, monitoring the outcomes of effectiveness of these interventions. The department must ensure that dormant civil claims cases are reviewed and cleared regularly, and work with legal counsel to mitigate future contingent liabilities. Collaborate with the MPA to improve the turnaround time on decisions for criminal recommendations. Consider holding regular joint meetings to review declined cases and improve referral processes. 9 is the department should increase the number of quality assurers to help investigators refine case submissions and improve prosecution outcomes. 10, implement enhanced monitoring systems and lecture progress focused on detainee management, particularly suicide prevention and mental health care. 11 is conduct thorough investigations into all deaths in custody and establish accountability measures for police officers involved. And then 12, the department should increase its preventative inspection visits to police detention facilities or cells under South Africa's optional protocol to the Convention Against Torture and other cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment obligation as part of South Africa's national preventative mechanism. Colleagues, that is the IPID report. It's obviously far smaller than the South African Police Services one, or shorter, just due to the sheer size of it. May we move to adopt the report? Honourable Kola Barnard. We lost you there.
Sorry, that was just me agreeing with the adoption.
Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard. Anyone to second? Honourable Mokoena.
I support, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Mokoena. And then any party that reserves their right, Honourable Lehlape.
Please note the objection of the EFF Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Lehlape. Sorry, I mustn't laugh. Thank you. Then, colleagues, we can move on to the next report. Thanks again to the staff for the detailed report. Colleagues, the next one is the DPCI judge report. This is something that I believe over the next few years we're going to work together quite a bit on. I think it's something that is quite forgotten and the public, unfortunately, don't always know about it. You would have read the observations. I think we can go straight to the recommendations. Thank you, Nicolette. Let's start with the first bit. It's just regarding the Secretariat. Sorry, it's to maintain rigorous standards that led to the clean audit outcome. Nicolette, have I confused something now? Why did I say the DPCI judge? We're on CSPS now. Sorry about that.
We incorporated the DPCI judge and
yes.
the Clean board.
Yes. Okay. Yes. We instead of making two reports, we made it one. Because yeah. So let's start with that. Let's start with CSPS. Maintain the rigorous standards that led to the clean audit outcome. I think that is something very positive. Implement ongoing training for staff on transparency and accountability practices to sustain high standards. Second one is the committee recommends that greater attention should be given to monitor the implementation of recommendations made to the South African Police Service. Recommendations issued by the CSPS are not being adequately tracked or monitored to ensure an impact on the service delivery of SAPS. 3 is to conduct regular reviews of financial commitments to prevent underspending and ensure that service delivery is not compromised. Develop and implement targeted recruitment initiatives for underrepresented groups, including individuals with disabilities. The department should develop strategies to drive a bigger impact on police performance and professionalism and prioritize the processing of the SAPS amendment bill through the relevant clusters and cabinet to ensure that the bill is tabled in Parliament in early 2025. The department should improve its marketing strategies to the public to bring about awareness of the role of the CSPS and what it plays with regards to police accountability. Colleagues, you would have also noted recently, I shared in the committee, but possibly for those of you that might have missed it, we receive an extremely high amount of complaints every day from the public regarding service delivery issues with the police, some more serious than others. And it is actually by legislation, it is a responsibility of the Secretariat to facilitate that process and not of the committee. And even though we do follow a lot up, we are trying to work in more cooperatively with the CSPS to ensure that that they also fulfill their mandate. And 8 is to continue to engage various stakeholders actively and develop collaborative strategies to enhance community safety. And then 9 is to standardize reporting templates for all partners involved in the ICVPS to improve accountability and transparency, and set clear timelines for the implementation and evaluation of strategies and policies to ensure effective outcomes. And then recommendations regarding the DNA board. The board should oversee the construction of the new forensic laboratories, particularly in provinces with insufficient capacity, such as Mpumalanga. The board should explore, I don't know if we all, I can't remember if we did mention it, Nicolette, but just in terms of new forensic laboratories, I think we must just say something about maintaining or improving existing ones, like the Manzimtoti one that always floods. I know that Deputy Minister and Honourable Carla Barnard keep on mentioning that one. So that is one that we can definitely mention there. It might not be new, but just maintenance. The second point is the board should explore public-private partnership to supplement forensic analysis capacity, particularly for routine cases. This could help reduce the backlog and enhance operational efficiencies while ensuring the oversight and quality control. Now, similar to the one regarding firearms, colleagues, this is something where universities, for example, can play an incredibly important role for us. It could also be a potential way of developing people, developing skills of individuals that may later on in their careers or after studying work in the South African Police Service in the forensic environment. So yeah, I think that's the idea behind that. Just to color it in a bit, thank you, Honourable Leklape, received as such. The board should increase its monitoring of training programs for police officers, focusing on the correct collection, preservation, and handling of DNA and other forensic evidence at crime scenes. 4, the board should ensure that forensic laboratories prioritize the processing of forensic evidence for gender-based violence cases. 5, the board, together with the South African Police Service and the CSPS, must develop a strategy to manage the influx of forensic samples generated from high-density policing operations like Operation Shanela. This includes pre-planning and resource allocation to handle the expected increase in workload without overburdening existing, already overburdened laboratories. The board should strengthen oversight of the procurement process to ensure that the consumables necessary for DNA analysis are continuously available in forensic laboratories. Consideration should be given to the establishment of longer-term contract with suppliers to avoid shortages that could delay forensic processing. 7, the board should utilize awareness campaigns on social media to inform citizens about the DNA board's mandate, responsibilities, and the importance of forensic evidence. I think something there to add is just to say this is also a cost-effective way for them to market themselves. The board should engage the NPA to maintain a list of cases struck off the roll due to insufficient forensic evidence. The DNA board should use this information to assess the impact of forensic backlogs on prosecution, success, and take corrective action where necessary. The board should engage the CSPS to consider legislative amendments that strengthen the powers and independence of the DNA board, enabling it to enforce compliance with forensic standards and hold laboratories accountable for delays. Then, colleagues, the last one for this specific report is the recommendations following the report from the Office of the DPCI Judge. The first point is the Office of the DPCI Judge should launch targeted public awareness campaigns to educate citizens about the Office of the DPCI Judge, its role, and the complaint lodging process. The Office should utilize diverse communication channels, including traditional media, community outreach programs, and social media platforms to enhance visibility and engagement with the public. The Office of the DPCI Judge should establish a strong social media presence to disseminate information about the Office's functions, ongoing initiatives, and how the public can lodge complaints. The Office of the DPCI Judge should develop publish a clear framework outlining how complaints are sifted to determine their alignment with the Office's mandate. 4, the Office of the DPCI Judge should foster a culture of openness and accountability within the DPCI by promoting the importance of reporting grievances and concerns. Initiatives should be implemented that reassure DPCI members that their complaint will be handled confidentially and taken seriously, potentially through anonymous reporting mechanisms. 5 is the Office of the DPCI Judge should conduct regular training and awareness sessions for DPCI members regarding the Office of the DPCI Judge and its functions. This could include workshops, informational sessions, and distribution of easy-to-understand materials that outline how and when to report complaints. Colleagues, those are the 3 sets of recommendations for this specific report. Are there any points that you would like to add or mention? Nothing for now. Maybe then move to adopt the report. I will call it Barnard. I need someone to actually say it though.
Apologies, I propose we adopt the report.
Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard. Honourable Mokoena, can we have someone to second that?
I support, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Mokoena. Then Honourable Letlape has already indicated via the chat that the EFF objects or reserves their right. Thank you, Honourable Letlape. Colleagues, we can then move on to the next report. The next report is the report regarding the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority. Thank you, Nicolette. The first point is PSIRA should enhance its enforcement mechanisms to ensure training providers strictly adhere to the required standards. Routine inspections and audits of training curricula should be carried out with non-compliance addressed through penalties or revoking of licenses. 2, PSIRA should develop and implement an audit action plan which will assist to improve its audit outcome. 3, PSIRA's business development unit should formalize partnerships with municipalities and SALGA across all provinces, expanding training and compliance programs to ensure uniform services delivery standards in security services provided to local government institutions. 4, PSIRA should increase the frequency and reach of its awareness campaigns using both traditional media and digital platforms. Campaigns should focus on educating communities, security officers, and service providers about the regulatory framework and their responsibilities. 5, PSIRA should implement a more proactive approach in monitoring the operational status of companies registered with them, ensuring they are financially capable of paying annual fees. Companies are no longer operational or are unable to meet their financial obligations should be promptly deregistered rather than allowing bad debts to accumulate. 6, CSIRA should introduce early warning mechanisms to flag companies at risk of non-payment. CSIRA can initiate engagement with these companies to determine whether financial difficulties are temporary or if the company is no longer operational. 7, CSIRA should register companies that fail to meet financial obligations from CSIRA's system. This will prevent the accumulation of bad debts and ensure CSIRA focuses on regulating companies that actively participate in the security industry. CSIRA should consider publishing a list of deregistered companies on CSIRA's website, ensuring transparency. 8, CSIRA should empower the security industry through workshops and education awareness regarding fraud prevention within the industry. 9, CSIRA should avail sufficient resources to ensure that inspections for compliance and enforcement are done effectively. The operation should adequately monitor to ensure service delivery. 10, CSIRA must ensure that past financial irregularities, such as the 56 million rand paid for unrendered services, are thoroughly investigated and legal actions pursued. 11, CSIRA should strengthen stakeholder engagement by addressing concerns raised about the jurisdiction over industry transformation. Wider industry consultation should be conducted before the transformation charter is finalized and gazetted. This process should be overseen in partnership with the Civilian Secretariat for Police and other relevant bodies. 12, CSIRA should fast-track the completion and implementation of the online assessment system, ensuring all issues with the procurement process are resolved. The service provider responsible for delays should be held accountable, and a transparent report on project completion timelines and expenditures should be provided to the committee. CSIRA must establish a closer working relationship with the FSCA and the Security Industry Bargaining Council to ensure security companies comply with the Pension Fund Act, and CSIRA should take proactive measures, including random inspections and audits, to ensure compliance and take enforcement actions where necessary. 14, CSIRA should further strengthen its debt collection processes, focusing on older accounts that were previously written off. CSIRA should also then develop a strategy to reduce vacancy rates by fast-tracking the recruitment process, especially for critical roles that affect service delivery. Colleagues, anything you would like to add? Can we then move to adopt the report? Colleagues, is there anyone that would like us to adopt the report? Honorable Bio?
Thank you, Chair. I move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you, Honorable Mbio. Can I have someone to second that? Honorable Mokoena?
I do support, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mokoena. Then I already understand that Honorable Getlape has informed that the EFF will object. We can then move on to the next report. Thank you, colleagues. Colleagues, I just want to ask, can we just take a 2-minute break? I just want to grab some water. Just give me 2 minutes. Let's say 5 minutes. We'll return in 5 minutes. So 10:33 to be exact. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. If we may continue, we can start with the Philippi Training Academy report. Nicolette, are we going to go through the recommendations as well? Can we go straight to the recommendations, or do we want to go through the concerns first?
Chair, thank you. I just highlighted the changes that were made to the report, but I'll quickly go down to recommendations.
Okay, everyone has seen the amendments made, but let me just read them just to make sure everyone's on the same page. The order of deliberations and the site visit changed, as Honorable Kola Barnard suggested previously, and then spelling of Philippi also corrected, and the return visit to include something on that in the report. Thank you, Nicolette. So, colleagues, before I start reading through the recommendations, just as a matter of feedback without having visited there yet, nothing has changed so far. Everyone that has been implicated in corruption are still is still at the college. As I shared previously, Lieutenant Colonel Sereko, the 2IC at the college, has also been shortlisted for a command post at the Graaff-Reinet Police Academy. So extremely concerning. 13,000 Rand was approved according to information received for the passing out parade of last week. The commander of the college then went ahead to spend another 50,000 Rand out of the college funds for the passing out parade. And unfortunately, it's been reported that large amounts of food was then removed from the college after the passing out parade. So I'm going to go through the recommendations, which include what the committee's following steps are. Let's start with point number 1. The department must develop and implement robust protocols to ensure the confidentiality and protection of witnesses during investigations. I think it's important also that it includes the Hawks. We don't have to say it. It's just everyone needs to take note that it includes the Hawks. Further, the department must regularly train personnel on the importance of maintaining confidentiality. The department must strengthen whistleblower protection to encourage reporting of misconduct, implement a secure and anonymous reporting system. 3, the department must expedite the scheduling of consultation meetings between forensic investigation teams and the Philippi Training Academy, and establish clear timelines and ensure accountability for delays. The department must prioritize the implementation of the forensic audit recommendations and consider assigning a dedicated team to monitor progress and ensure that findings from the internal auditor are addressed promptly. The department must create a public communication plan to maintain transparency without compromising ongoing investigations relating to the academy. The department must conduct an immediate review of employment status of any members involved in serious allegations at the academy. Implicated members must be placed on precautionary suspension while the investigation is ongoing. So sadly, that is one part that has been flagged. We will follow that up in writing with the support of the committee. But unfortunately, no one has been suspended so far. And as I said, in fact, everyone is still at the college and have continued with misappropriating or alleged misappropriation of funding, and still have access to all of the said bank accounts that we mentioned during our visit to Philippi. 7, the department must establish a regular schedule for reviewing and updating the training curriculum to reflect current best practices and needs. 8, the department must assess and improve the infrastructure at training academies to ensure that a conducive training environment. The department must collaborate with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure for necessary upgrades. The department must regularly evaluate the adequacy of training facilities and take proactive steps to ensure that they meet the needs of trainees. The department must reinforce the use of psychometric testing in the recruitment process to ensure candidates meet the psychological and ethical standards required for policing. Colleagues, I just want to say as a point of clarity, I followed this up last week unofficially, but psychometric tests do actually take place. I previously thought that they had stopped, but according to different members in the police that work at several different colleges, they do go through, I think there are 4 steps, 4 processes that include psychometric testing that they do go through. But I think the process itself should be questioned, because too many a time we still hear of criminal conduct by students and recruits, and therefore it's questionable whether those tests were actually done properly, or, as we've unfortunately heard before, sometimes new recruits have bought their way into the college. The department must conduct a thorough review of unfilled vacancies at training academies countrywide, including trainers, instructors, and support personnel. For example, kitchen staff, to ensure that needs are met. Further, the department should review the barriers to filling them. The department should enhance support systems for victims of sexual harassment, ensuring that monitoring mechanisms are robust and that trainees feel safe reporting incidents. The department must implement strict drug testing protocols and education programs to ensure trainees remain drug-free during their training. The department must ensure that trainees receive rigorous training to empower them to handle any challenges they may face while executing their duties. The department should prioritize repairing the geysers actually, or consider installing a temporary hot water solution to ensure trainees have access to hot water to trainees. I think we can just remove the 2 trainees at the end, Nicolette. And then 16, the department must invest in adequate laundry facilities for trainees to ensure cleanliness and hygiene. 17, the department should increase kitchen staff to manage daily operations and cleaning duties effectively. 18, the department should ideally establish a facility management team responsible for ongoing maintenance and prompt response to report issues. 19, the department must ensure that all facilities, particularly the kitchen, meet occupational health and safety standards. 20, the department should expedite the upgrade of computers and ensure that all systems are operational. Consider providing mobile devices or laptops to increase accessibility. Additionally, the department should acquire sufficient seating for the library to accommodate all trainees, promoting better access to resources. Then what we will now follow up is what we've requested is the monthly progress report on the ongoing criminal and internal investigations at the Philippi Training Academy. So Nicolette, please note that, and Babalwa, in order for that later on behalf of the committee, because we haven't received anything thus far. And as I said, everything is still exactly the same. Then a written response regarding the sergeant who allegedly stole firearm magazine and reasons for the lack of actions taken by the head of the academy. I think we can actually add there, and also what action was taken with regards to the head of the academy for not taking action. And then 3, a comprehensive breakdown of the funds allocated to the Philippi Training Academy and how it was spent, but that will be included in the audit. Colleagues, that is the recommendations. You all have the report. I would like to know if we can move to adopt the report.
G.
Nicolette.
Sorry to interject. I want to make a proposal that we maybe separate the recommendations into short-term and medium-term recommendations, so that we can basically pull out the issues that must be addressed immediately, like the filling of vacancies, the removal of the officers at the Philippi training, and the installation of geysers.
I'm more than happy with that. Colleagues, are you comfortable? I think that's a very good suggestion. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that would object to that, Nicolette. So please continue with that. I think it's a good idea. Colleagues, can we move to adopt the report? Honorable Letlhaphe.
That's fine. I propose, sorry, or second, as you wish.
Thanks, Chair. I propose and I adopt the report. I move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Letlhaphe. So we can then, let me just ask also, is there any party that would like to reserve their right on the report or object? None. Thank you, Nicolette, and thank you to Babalwa and Mr. Lobby for all the effort regarding the arrangement of the oversight visit. Colleagues, I must just add before we move on to the next part of the agenda that just with regards to training academies, I think you'd agree with me that it is something that needs significant attention. So it is something that we will be zooming in on quite a bit in the coming months/years. Thank you, Nicolette. We can then move over to the interim report of the Portfolio Committee on Police with regards to the intervention to combat extortion. Colleagues, you'd remember that a few weeks ago we met with the police's management where they were meant to submit and present a bit of an overview regarding their strategy to combat extortion. We thought that it was a broad overview. It was a bit of a broader picture of what they think they can or should do, but it wasn't, in my opinion, a good in-depth strategy. We obviously don't expect to hear operational information, things that could compromise the police in any way in such a presentation. But I think it is important that we see a lot more depth. With that, there's obviously a huge call, and understandably so, regarding extortion in South Africa. The provinces identified by the police that are the most worrying, just in terms of the sheer scale of extortion groups, in no specific order, was the Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and KZN. But there's no doubt that whether it is in Limpopo, Gauteng, Northwest, and Mpumalanga, extortion is a crisis. Even in the Northern Cape, it's becoming a bigger and bigger problem. We have thus presented or prepared, this preliminary report, just to give an indication of what the committee is busy with, what the findings were, and what we are planning to engage in the coming months. I will go through it formally now, but just to give you a short idea, you would remember that a few weeks ago, we were possibly going to go on a very short oversight visit to the Eastern Cape. We then decided to say we'd rather have the presentation and then plan to go and see what the measurable outcomes are. The idea is then that in the beginning of December of 2024, we will have an engagement that will be coordinated along with the Civilian Secretariat for Police, where we'll have a form of a public engagement or public hearing with the relevant policing forums, CPS, community policing forums, and other community safety structures. The reason why we have done this is because we have seen that with a lot of the so-called public hearings, the truth doesn't really come out because of the threat of intimidation and even worse, someone being assassinated for speaking out. So we are busy constructing a program, which obviously will be proposed to the committee first, where we will go through and get everyone's input in the committee to decide what can be added or amended and how we should approach that process. And then there are other oversight visits too. But let me go through the recommendations. You would have all received the report to read through, and then we'll take it from there, and we can also engage in some discussion. Just in terms of the way forward, point number 1 is the committee will meet with the representatives from the 7 extortion typologies identified by the NAT joints, including the construction, transport security, mining and business sectors, vulnerable communities and local government structures. Now, obviously, this isn't something that happens overnight, but those are the identified sectors that we need to zoom in on. Can't emphasize it enough that the part about vulnerable communities must be considered critical. I think it's too easy just to focus on big business extortion, and we forget about someone that's trying to earn a very honest living and being extorted on ground level in a poor community, especially in poorer communities. And then point number 2, the committee will meet with security experts, civil society organizations, and academies on factors that enable this extortion crime and measures that could be implemented to combat extortion. A good example of this is the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, Corruption Watch, Business Against Crime, and the National Community Policing Forum board, and obviously everyone affiliated with them. Nicolette, something that I believe we can make a note, if possible, is just the major increase in kidnapping. And we don't have to zoom in on kidnapping in an unfair way compared to the other types of extortion, but kidnapping is a type of extortion, I believe, that is becoming extremely prevalent all over. Again, with the Eastern Cape playing quite a significant role in leading that. Point number 3 is the committee will meet with National Treasury to support increased funding and resources for the South African Police Service to expand targeted interventions to combat organized crime, including extortion and infrastructure-related crimes that cause significant harm to the South African. There's a typo there. It says Then number 4, the committee will engage with counterparts in the Portfolio Committee on Justice during a joint meeting to address gaps and challenges in witness protection offered by the MPA. 5, the committee will conduct oversight visits to the most affected provinces. For example, the Eastern Cape, KZN, and the Western Cape. These scheduled for January, February 2025 based on the parliamentary program. The engagements will focus on policing structures, including community policing forums. Just to make it also clear, the zoom in on the January and February of 2025. So it's not something that we're going to wait months for. It is in process. And I also want to encourage members that where possible, where you know there are issues regarding police stations, as many of you have done. I know Honorable Wela, Lehlape, and Skosana, amongst others, Honorable Schikkeling, I think as well, all have conducted unannounced oversight visits in the last few weeks. So please continue with that. And if possible, zoom in on the places that have significant challenges regarding extortion and give feedback to the committee, because those are all very valuable things that we can add. Then in terms of December 2024, point number 6, the committee is scheduled to meet with representatives from CPFs to engage on how extortion-related crimes are affecting communities. What's important about this, colleagues, is that it differs from place to place. We can't just have a blanket approach to all communities because there are different types of extortion occurring in different communities. Number 7, the committee advises against holding public hearings on extortion countrywide for several reasons, including the potential for retaliation, the risk of compromising ongoing investigations, concerns over fear of intimidation, and issues of confidentiality. Engagements will focus on CPFs as representatives of the communities they serve. These can be in person and virtual. A lot of them will be virtual just for the sake of protecting some people that might want to speak anonymously through those CPF structures. But we will engage in those. Point number 8, the committee advises against holding closed meetings with relevant parliamentary committees. I think that should to discuss operational details for combating extortion. While the Constitution and parliamentary rules allow for meetings without public or media attendance, the security risk posed by potential information leaks could severely damage ongoing initiatives and investigations into extortion. Instead, specific questions should be directed to the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, as its members have the necessary security clearance to handle sensitive information. The committee believes that this approach offers a clear, structured, and detailed path forward, emphasizing continuous improvement and stakeholder collaboration. Colleague, if we work with some of these recommendations already made, I'll go on to the next ones now. It's important that we consider some of the after the oversight visits, we will then be able to give a far more detailed report as well, apart from everything we've already indicated, and build on that. And we'll be able to then give quarterly or even shorter, we can almost give monthly feedback on the process following, especially with regards to the approach or the strategy that the South African Police Service is zooming in on. Then in terms of preliminary recommendations, the committee recommends the following. The Civilian Secretariat for Police Service should review current legislation to identify and amend legislative gaps that hinder effective crime-fighting efforts, specifically related to the investigation and prosecution of extortion-related crimes. The review should aim at strengthening the legal and investigative processes to enhance the rate of successful prosecutions following arrest related to extortion. Something that I want to mention here, kidnapping is a very good example with this, is that sometimes someone is charged for kidnapping, he or she is found guilty, and they are sentenced for 5 years for such an extremely serious crime. So that's just one small part of legislation that could be considered to be amended. And I think there's a lot that our committee can work together on to get that done. Secondly, the South African Police Service should allocate adequate resources to the new reporting hotline to ensure it is responsive and effective, including staff training for prompt handling of reports and follow-up mechanisms. It is vital that PARC calls are filtered out to prioritize prank calls, filtered out to prioritize legitimate reports on extortion. I think there, Nicolette, I think also there must be some kind of consequence management regarding those that commit the prank calls without, unnecessarily wasting capacity on it. But if at all possible, it should be followed up, and those persons need to be held to account for wasting very valuable time. 3, the South African Police Service should establish proactive measures for early detection and intervention against extortion activities to prevent escalation. And then the South African Police Service should ensure timely submission of all required reports, such as those concerning the Intercape bus service, to maintain transparency and accountability. 5, the SAPS should launch investigations into potential connections between construction, extortion, and other criminal activities, developing coordinated strategy to disrupt these networks. I think that should include the Hawks as well. We should mention them. The SAPS should intensify integrity tests for government officials in critical roles to safeguard against corruption and fuel extortion activities. Similarly, SAPS should intensify integrity screenings and lifestyle audits for SAPS officers, especially those involved in anti-extortion efforts to maintain credibility and public trust. Nicolette, there, number 6, I think let's just add there that specifically the detectives that work on it, that let's just define it in detail, that it specifically also includes detectives that investigate these cases. 7, interdepartmental coordination and intelligence sharing among law enforcement agencies should be enhanced to build a cohesive strategy against organized crime. 8, SAPS should continue to promote and expand partnerships with municipal police services, CPFs, and other stakeholders. I think that is crucial. Then 9, the Civilian Secretariat for Police Service should investigate the possible development of a policy to protect victims of extortion from prosecution when they comply with demands, recognizing their vulnerable position. 10, SAPS must address the capacity limitations of crime intelligence and detective services divisions as a priority, ensuring it is adequately resourced to support anti-extortion initiatives. The SAPS must submit a comprehensive report to the Committee on progress made on intensified work streams within 30 days of the adoption of this report. 12, investigations and prosecutions on extortion-related crime must be finalized expeditiously to prevent complainants and witnesses losing interest in this, as stated in challenges faced by SAPS. 13, the committee will engage with counterparts in the Portfolio Committee on Justice to address gaps and challenges in witness protection offered by NPA. We've also mentioned part of that before. And then 14, SAPS and CSPS should analyze and research the possible link between extortion and mass shootings as part of the broader organized crime issue, including gang-related violence and taxi industry violence. Colleagues, that is the overview. Everyone has received it as well. Is there anything someone would like to mention or add? Can we move to adopt the report?
I move, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard. Honourable Letlape.
I second, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Letlape. Anyone that would like to reserve the right? Thank you, colleagues. Thank you for the support on this. I cannot emphasize this enough. And also, please remember, as I've said before, if there are any cases that come up in your constituencies or wherever you work on the ground, please, please, please let us know if you get stuck or you get complaints about the police not attending to it. Even if it feels petty or small, please let us know, and let's see how we can assist to get the relevant reaction on ground level. Colleagues, those are the reports. Thank you for everyone helping to get through all of that. We now only have left 5 sets of minutes that we need to run through, that I would just like to ask to be shared on the screen. There we go. And then once we've done that, we can conclude. These are the minutes for the Portfolio Committee. Remember when we had the hotel meeting? I think that was Honourable Ghana's favorite venue so far for the year. Honourable Ghana, I'm saying that tongue in cheek. And I know, yeah, I just want to hear, can we move to adopt these minutes? Colleagues, can we move to adopt these minutes?
I'll move that, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard. Can I have someone to second?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Letlape. Colleagues, we can move on to the next set of minutes. Next one is for the 11th of September 2024. Everyone would have received these. Can we move to adopt? Honourable Mbio.
I move for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Mbio. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard. We can move on to the next set of minutes, which is the 18th of September. Can we move to adopt?
I adopt, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Letlape. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard. The next set of minutes, colleagues, is the minutes for the 9th of October. As said, you would have received these already. This was the briefing, included the briefing by the Auditor General, amongst others. Can we move to adopt?
I move for the adoption.
Thank you, Honorable Mbio. Can we second? Honorable Mokoena, thank you very much.
Yes. I second, Chair.
Thank you. The last one, colleagues, is the 16th of October's minutes. This was the one where we went through the DPCI judge, etc. Can we move to adopt?
I move, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kola Barnard. Second?
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Letlape. Colleagues, that is then the end of our meeting. I would just like to thank everyone. I know today was a bit of an administrative exercise, so thank you everyone for your patience. I feel like I've used up my English for at least 2 weeks. So I will look forward to next week again. Thank you very much to everyone for the input today, and hopefully see most of you at plenary this afternoon. Have a good day.